Last week I gave a presentation in Edinburgh about building an email list and email marketing for authors. But I found out, which is something that's pretty common with my videos if you watch me on YouTube, that I talk too much. So I had trouble, I had way too many slides and way too much information, and by the first half hour I'd only gotten to like 1/3 of my slides and not even to the good stuff. So I'm presenting this weekend in London about the same topic, and I wanted to time myself going through these slides. This is a practice run, but I'm also going to share this in my Guerrilla Publishing Facebook group and on my website, Creative Indie. So I'm going to try to just skim through the core stuff about building a relationship with readers, why it's important, how to do it, how I've been able to build really large email lists that have helped me to sell more books. And I've replaced a lot of the text with animated GIFs to make it more interesting and also to remind myself not to talk as much. And hopefully, in the first 5 or 10 minutes, we'll get through the basic stuff and we can move into some more advanced, more specific content. So the last slide, it said something like, it will save you time and money. So a lot of authors think, they don't want to do email list building. They don't want to do all this marketing and building a relationship with readers because, they would rather be writing their books, or they want to be creative. They don't want to be doing the work of building a platform. The reason to build an email list is because it gives you direct control with your readers, and it's a much easier way to sell more books. So it's not that it's a lot of work. It's not that it's a lot of waste of time. What's usually happening is that authors are using it wrong, or they don't really know what the purpose is. So the results aren't as good as they should be, so they think it's a waste of time. But actually, it can be the most effective book marketing. So if you've tried email list building or email list marketing already, you may say stuff like, if it's not working for you or you're frustrated, you might think nobody buys anything. So if you build a huge list and people aren't buying your book, that's a problem because your book isn't converting. So either you're putting the wrong readers on your list, you're building a big list of freebie seekers who aren't just interested in your genre, or they're just downloading the book but they're not actually reading the book. If they haven't read your book yet, you can't expect them to buy anything yet. You have to give them some content for free so that they can trust that you know how to write before they have to pull out their wallet and actually buy something. But you don't have to give them the whole book. You can give them a sample or something like that. If you are getting them to download a sample of your book and they're the right readers and they love what you're writing, and they enjoy your sample, then they're going to be pretty likely to buy something. But you have to boost the conversion by giving them a really well-designed, even for a free book, it's got to have a great cover. It's got have a lot of reviews to get all the downloads. Otherwise, you're just not going to have that many downloads. It's not going to work so well. Some people say that people who download free books don't buy and they don't review. That's often like if you're doing a joint author promo or you're on InstaFreebie or BookFunnel, where people are just downloading tons of free books, and they don't buy or they don't review because they probably haven't even read your book yet. So just because they download the book doesn't mean they're fans or they've read the book. You still can't expect them to buy anything or review anything. That's what an email autoresponder series is for. You need to build a relationship with them first and remind them to read the book and ask them what they thought. The more they like you as a person, the more they're used to you showing up in their inbox, the more likely they're going to be to engage with you. Conversion is terrible. I think I have one more note that a 1% conversion is actually not that bad. Most authors expect much more, which is why they're frustrated. So if you have 100 people on your list or you send out 100 ARC copies, you may be disappointed when you only get 50 reviews. Actually, that's fantastic. That's 50%. I think if you aim for 1%, when you're reaching out to cold traffic. So cold traffic is someone signed up for your free book, but you don't know if they've read it yet. That's still cold traffic. You still don't know if they're fans, if they've read any of your writing. So you still have to assume that they haven't and treat them as, strangers who you think would enjoy your book. The more you can build the relationship, the more that conversion is going to go up. But assuming a 1% conversion means if you get 1,000 downloads on a free book, maybe 10% will actually read it. Maybe 1% will love it and review it and become hardcore fans. So 1,000 downloads could be 100 reads or people who are reading the book, and maybe 10 reviews. So I usually give out maybe 2,000 or 3,000 when I do a free book promo, and I don't always do a free book promo right away now that I have a platform. But if I was starting off with nothing and I was giving out free copies, I'd give out a couple thousand copies and hope for 10 or 20 reviews to get started if they're total strangers. But also, those people will be getting on my list. The more people read my books and become fans, the more easy it's going to be for me to get 10% conversion or 20% conversion. So when I send out, in the future, I could send out 100 advanced reader copies and get 10 or 20 reviews pretty quickly. So the other thing to keep in mind is that there's two different types of subscribers. There's different ways of getting people on your email list. People will say that, the best way is at the end of your book, you have a call to action which says get another book or get something for free by signing up to my email list. That's never gonna work very well, because you'd have to be selling tons and tons of books to get people on your list. If you sell 1,000 books a month, maybe 10% of those will sign up to your list from the end of your book. But most authors don't sell 1,000 books a month, and 10% isn't that great. Even 10% of 1,000 is 100 new subscribers a month, and that's not very many. You can get a lot more. There's potential fans and confirmed fans. So those pictures loaded a little faster than I wanted them to, but this is what potential fans are. Even if they've signed up for a free book, they probably still don't want to hear from you. They probably don't know who you are. They may not recognize your name or your face, and they may never read your book. So when you try to talk to them about what's going on with you, they don't care. They don't want you to talk to them. They'll be like the turtle and they'll run and hide because you're accosting them with all this book information that they didn't really want to sign up for. They just wanted the free book. So you have to recognize that when most people sign up for a free book, they're still skeptical. You still need to be very slow and warm and gentle with how you warm them up. You don't want to talk about yourself. You don't want to promote your books. What you want to be doing is finding out exactly what they're interested in, emailing them useful and entertaining information that appeals to them, that's worth their time. So you're not taking time away from them. You're not asking for favors. You're benefiting their life by sending them great content in their inbox. The more you do that, and while you're doing this, you're also reminding them to check out your free books. You're offering them more free books. You're doing more free book giveaways. You're really trying to get them to read anything. Sometimes even I'll send out like long excerpts of my books within the email, because I know most people, they might open the email, but they're never actually going to click and download the book or start reading. So if I can put the first 10 paragraphs of chapter 1 in the email and then say click here to keep reading, that's one more way to hook those potential fans and get them to actually read a substantial amount of your content. Once you've impressed them with your reading, they may become confirmed fans. So confirmed fans are also people who have finished your book and signed up specifically to get more writing from you. I keep two different lists. I keep a list of potential fans that I grow really quickly with book giveaways, joint author promos, people who I know are interested in my genre or the types of books that I write, but who probably don't know me personally yet. And then I need to work on building that relationship with a really good autoresponder series that, forges a relationship with them by sharing mutually interesting content. Once they're on my confirmed fans, I'll put them on a different list, or at the end of my books they can sign up, then they'll be on my confirmed fans list. Those are people I know who have read some of my books, and they want my writing specifically. They like my writing. I've impressed them. This doesn't necessarily mean that they are buyers who are going to buy future books, but they're interested in more of my writing. So they may download more free books in the future. They may never become buyers, but they may still be really valuable if they're reviewers. If 100 people never buy my books, but they review every book I put out, that's still very, very powerful. So it's nice to have a big list of confirmed fans, even if they're not buying. Between your potential fans and your confirmed fans, when you have a pretty big list, for example, when you have a free book giveaway, you can get a couple thousand downloads with one email, which will put your book up on the top of Amazon. And while you're still warming them up, like in my confirmed fans list, I'll talk to them a little bit more personally, like a little bit more like of my insiders group. Some people will call this a street team. They're the ones who will get, more advanced information about what I'm putting out or what I'm working on. They'll get the first crack at any of my new releases. They'll get the first opportunity to sign up for giveaways and prizes and extra stuff. I'll try to treat them really well. And in return, the more they like and know me and trust me, the more likely they're going to be to not only buy books, but also to share books. So like I said, even if they never buy, if they'll share my launches, if they'll retweet my stuff or share my books on Facebook or review my books on launch, that's all still really powerful. So I'll set up my launches in a way that also encourages them to buy the books, because you want some sales also, especially when you launch. You want a couple hundred sales to push your rank up pretty high. So I have a confirmed fans list that's big enough. Right now my potential fans is about 20,000. My confirmed fans is about 5,000. I don't expect I'll get 5,000 sales on a book, but I could easily get a couple hundred sales on a new book, which is enough. And if I really worked the marketing and I did things well, I could get up to 1,000 pre-orders based on my list sizes. So this is the way most authors talk to their readers. So this is after you've built a pretty big list, and this is something I was not doing well for a long time. I've been writing fiction for a couple years now. It's gone quickly. I've built up some pretty big email lists, but I was not using a very good autoresponder series. So I wanted to correct that recently, and I've done that by basically planning out how I can do it better. And I also put it into a course, which is the 1,000 subscribers course. So these are a lot of like my notes to myself, but this is also how I'm rewriting my own autoresponder series. So the problem with most authors' autoresponder series is that they are public service announcements. So they are like this guy standing on a I forget what those things are called actually. But he's basically trying to get attention by being cool. He's got a megaphone. He's like, look at me, I'm dancing for you, I'm juggling for you, I have something important, pay attention to me, listen to me. That kind of stuff is what most authors do in their autoresponder series, and those things don't work very well, especially because, like I said, most people sign up for your email list, they don't even know who you are yet. So when most people start off with our welcome, here are your free books, did you like the free books, please review, and want to buy more books or follow me on social media, this is like 3 emails. This is what most authors do. After this, authors aren't really sure what to do next, how many times they should email, what else they should talk about. The problem with all of these is that you're not really building a relationship. So maybe they didn't ever download the free books, maybe they're not interested in reviewing, and boom, you've lost them. They've never become fans. You need to work a lot harder for this. If they're on your list already, you need to work harder to be building the relationship. So this is what the relationship looks like for most authors. Readers sign up to get books. Authors talk about books. So the meeting point between the author and the reader is just the books. The author's like, here's some more books, I have new releases. That's maybe not so interesting for readers. If they're fans, if they're true fans, they've read your works already, maybe that's enough. But if they aren't fans yet, if they never read your free books, it's not enough, and you want to keep working, because after 3 emails, maybe they could have been fans. Maybe they were busy right now. Maybe they would have opened some more emails a month from now or 2 months from now. Or maybe your emails are really boring and they just don't read your emails. They don't open your emails. If you had sent them some more interesting content to get their attention, they may have opened your emails. If you told some funny stories or added some videos, or made more of an effort, you may have been able to pull them back in and get them to be interested. So this is what I like to do. It's a BFF model. So instead of having a one path between books and readers and authors, this is more of a triangle where the books are the common ground between readers and authors, but you're also building a relationship directly with readers by not talking about your books, by talking about things that your readers are interested in, and by asking your reader questions, and by focusing on the reader and trying to get them to talk to you, trying to lure them out with great content. This slide, I'm realizing now, should have been earlier, but these are the two main methods I use to build my lists. I have lots and lots of videos about list building specifically, but I use free books and I use giveaways. So free books are giving away a perma-free book on Amazon, giving away a book on Instant Freebie or BookFunnel. I can also sometimes build a targeted list by using Book Review Targeter or a similar tool that will scrape Amazon for information. So I can put in 100 bestsellers in my genre and try to pull as much reviewer information as possible, and then email those reviewers and say, hey, here's a free book. I think you'll really like this. If so, I would hope for a review, but of course nothing is expected and you don't obligate anything. When I send out review copies that way, I also usually send them the link directly, because if you say, are you interested in a free book to review, please get back to me, please reply. Most people won't reply because they don't want to get involved with what could be a crazy author. They don't want to take that risk. But if you just give them the link and say, here it is, download it if you want it, that removes one more step. They don't have to get back to you. They don't have to add any kind of a confirmation. What can sometimes happen is if you say, sure, I'll take a look, then the author will just keep hassling you all the time until you have reviewed the book. And so a lot of authors are understandably squeamish about agreeing to review indie books. But if you just give them the link, you may get a bunch of downloads. Some of those people will review. There's also a difference between the books that you have in perma-free, or if you do the 5 free days in your Kindle Unlimited promotion, and also in the opt-in offer. So the opt-in offer would be something on your website, but that depends on your traffic. So if you're not getting much traffic on your website, you're not going to get many opt-ins to your list. Also, if you have a sign-up form at the beginning and the end of your book, which a lot of people have, unless you're selling lots of books, that's not going to work. So you're not going to build a list very quickly. You need to work harder to build a bigger list more quickly, especially when you're getting started, because like I said, it's about conversion. So you might need 1,000 people on your list to get a 1% conversion, especially if they're strangers. So you need big numbers. So don't think it's not working just because you have a list of 100 and you can't get anyone to buy your book. You really need to work harder on a bigger list. So the other method I use is book giveaways. I've done something like this where I give away a package of 28 books that will appeal to my genre, along with a couple of other cool things that will appeal to my readers. I package it all together in a book giveaway using King Sumo or Bookfetti, which is the book giveaway software that I had developed. And then I'll tag a bunch of the authors. So all the authors hopefully will share. I don't like doing split giveaways where everybody shares the list and everybody emails the reader. I want to keep the list all to myself. But if you include a bunch of giveaways and you feature them for free, if you include a bunch of other authors and you're featuring them and promoting their books, they may be likely to share it for you, which will give you more reach. So I shared this giveaway with Lauren Kate, and she shared it with her Facebook group, which has 500,000 followers, and on Twitter, where she has a couple 100,000 followers. That was some really good visibility, not only for me, but also for the other books that I included in this package. And so really quickly, I'm also going to mention that just because you have a free book doesn't mean it's going to get a lot of downloads. It has to be visible and it has to look good. It has to be desirable, even if it's free. People don't read books just because they're free. So you need to work harder to make your free book really good content with lots of reviews. And also, even if they download the book, you still have to check in with them and try to get them to read it. How often should you email? I think once a week for 3 months. And this is not a terrible amount of emails. So it's actually just about 12 emails. Sometimes I may want to do more. I want to do 24 emails. I think about 3 months is long enough, but the idea is you don't want to only show up when you're talking about your book or when you have a book launch, because you want to be sharing a lot of great content. So you need to figure out what your readers like and what they respond to, and you need to share that kind of content and share a lot of stories that will appeal and attract to your readers, possibly especially in the beginning when they don't really know who you are yet. They don't know what you're talking about. They're not interested in your books. You have to say interesting things, starting with stories usually, and a really strong hook for the email subject line to get them to open the email. You want to think in terms of maybe they aren't interested in your first 5 emails, but maybe that 15th email has an amazing subject line and they open it and they love it, and suddenly they're fans of your work and they go back and read all the other emails that they missed. Also, just by showing up in the inbox, you're visible. So even if they skip most of your emails or don't open most of your emails, just by showing up every week, they kind of get used to you. They get used to your name and your face. As long as you're, writing about cool and interesting things and you're not just, book promotion all the time, that's always an opportunity to show up. So even just using like a funny email subject line or something personal or something that resonates with them, if you can get in their heads a little bit and show up, maybe after 2 months they're like, well, especially like, for example, after a group giveaway where they sign up and all of a sudden they're on a whole bunch of authors lists, most authors will send them about 3 emails and they'll say, welcome, here's my free stuff, and then I'm doing a book launch, and here's a giveaway, and here's more promotion stuff, and then they'll unsubscribe because they're sick of that stuff and they didn't have time to read the free book anyway, and they still don't really know who the author is. It takes time to build a relationship, so you don't want to just give up after 3 emails. You want to keep showing up. If they unsubscribe, that's fine. That just means they're not your ideal audience, or they're not interested in your content, or you're not sharing interesting enough content. But you don't want to just, like, you've worked hard to get them on your list. You don't want to just write them off after 3 emails and say, well, they're not going to buy anything ever. I'm just going to stop emailing them, or I'm going to remove them from my list. You want to give them a chance with lots of content. You can pause your emails if you have a long autoresponder series. You can pause it when you do a launch so that they're not getting too many emails, and I recommend doing that. And you can also, after your 3 months or 2 months or however long your autoresponder series is, you can just check in every once in a while. I'm going to talk about some things you can put in your autoresponder series in the next couple slides. Also, if you're afraid of annoying them, your content isn't good enough yet. So most authors will be like, I don't want to annoy my readers by talking to them. And that's valid to a point, because most readers will be annoyed by most of the content that authors are sending out, but you don't have to be annoying. You can think of really interesting, clever, fun stuff. The main idea is to keep in mind, let me go to the next slide because I think it's relevant. Nope, not this one. So I'm going to start with this one first, which is just a basic primer on things you can talk about when you're writing your email series. This is also things you can think about is if you've read Dale Carnegie's Think Rich, no, not that one, Dale Carnegie's Make Friends and Influence People. That's a pretty good book about relationship building, and basically you just need to let the other person talk about themselves. So rather than just talking about yourself, you need to let the other person talk, ask them questions, engage them by making the conversation about them, but also building a relationship by forging similarities. So you need to know what the readers like, what they're interested in, what they think is cool, and you need to show that you like those things too. So you have mutual points of similarity. And this is really easy. For example, if you have an author photo, this is something business people do a lot, but it's also, it works really well on Tinder or dating profile apps. But if you have a pet in your picture, people will like you more. And this is true because most people have pets and most people like animals. So it's simple and it doesn't have anything to do with books. But if you're a cat person and you have a cat and your cat, stands on your computer and gets in front of your writing process, which is inevitable if you are a writer and you have a cat, or if you have a dog and your dog is stress release for your writing or whatever, find a way to talk about your dog and tie it in with your writing process so that you're allowing readers to connect with you on an emotional level, because it's interesting to see how you write and what you work on, but it's also interesting if you have a pet and they're going to like you more because they like pets. And as simple as that sounds, it's really powerful and effective. You want to talk about the things in your life that your readers like and will respond to. And it can be like, for me, I eat a lot of cookies and cakes. That's my writing process. I don't have a pet, unfortunately, because we travel. So I may talk more about, the Diet Coke that I'm drinking, or the Coke Zero, or the benefits of tea and cake, things like that, which are part of me as a writer, but also things that my readers might be interested in. But then mostly I want to ask some questions. I want to get them involved. I skip back to this slide because in it I recommend use a title generator for clickbait titles. This is similar to researching keywords for your book launch, but you need to know what your readers like. So you can use some websites that will find trending topics on Google or Twitter, or the articles that have the most shares and likes on social media or on the internet. So you can search for keywords, for example, young adult fiction, and I can find the most popular articles about the subject young adult fiction, and I can find out what kind of content readers respond to, and then I can either just link to that content directly, or I can make similar content from my blog. And you want to make similar content, so you want maybe 5 really good articles about keywords and topics that appeal to your readers right away when you're blogging, and then you can build those 5 really interesting topics into your autoresponder series. So you're not always just talking about your book launches. Sometimes you're just like, here's a really fascinating topic that I know you'll enjoy. And you can use a title generator for clickbait titles. Just means titles that are so good people have to read them or open them or click on them. And even though clickbait is kind of a derogatory term, they still work really well. So if you have a keyword, use a title generator to see the best phrase or sentence that you can use as a subject line for your email header that will get the most clicks and opens. Because if people aren't opening your emails, it doesn't really matter what you say in your emails. So I'm going to stop this video here. I have also, in the next couple of slides, I talk more in detail and I share my exact funnels and email autoresponder series for fiction and nonfiction in a lot more detail, but I'm going to save that for the live presentations. It's also in the course 1000 subscribers that you can find, and if you're a student of the Guerrilla Publishing course, you should already have access to that. So I hope this video helps. If so, please follow me on YouTube or share the video or the post on social media. Thanks.